The year is 52 before Christ. On the windswept plains of Gaul, Julius Caesar's battle-hardened legions stand in perfect, ironclad formation. But today, the Roman soldiers are not looking at Celtic infantry. They are looking up. High above the dust storm rises a wall of shaggy, dark fur. A pair of curved, ivory tusks, each 12 feet long and wrapped in spiked iron chains, sweeps through the air. The ground trembles. This is not an elephant. This is a woolly mammoth. Fed on northern barley, armored in thick leather, and ridden by fierce Gaulish archers. With one deafening, resonant trumpet, the beast charges. The Roman shield wall shatters like glass. It sounds like fantasy. But it was nearly our reality. 10,000 years ago, our ancestors stood at a major crossroads. The Ice Age was ending, the glacier were retreating, and the great beasts that ruled the northern hemisphere began to vanish. But what if they did not? What if the woolly mammoth never went extinct? If these colossal titans had survived into the modern era, the entire story of humanity would have been rewritten, and we would live on a completely different planet. To understand how, we have to go back to the dawn of civilization. In our timeline, the extinction of the megafauna was a green light for humanity. With the giant mammoths, mastodons, and saber-toothed cats out of the picture, humans became the undisputed apex predators. We settled down. We cleared forests, planted wheat, and built fences. But in a world where millions of 4-ton mammoths still roam the earth, fences are useless. Imagine trying to start a farm when a migrating herd of 50 hungry mammoths decides your crop of ancient barley is their afternoon snack. You cannot stop them. A wooden fence to a mammoth is like a toothpick to a grizzly bear. Because of this, agriculture as we know it would have been delayed for thousands of years. Instead of settling down into permanent cities, early humans would have remained nomadic. We would have been forced to follow the herds, living as pastoralists, adapting our entire culture to the seasonal migrations of the giants. We would not be the masters of nature. We would be its tenants. But humans are nothing if not adaptable. Eventually, we would stop running from the mammoths and start working with them. Picture the Bronze Age. Instead of yoking small oxen to plow fields, we yoke young mammoths. Instead of pack horses, merchants traverse the Silk Road with towering, shaggy beasts carrying tons of silk, spices, and bronze across the frozen mountain passes of Central Asia. The trade routes of the ancient world become massive, highway-like paths carved through the wilderness by centuries of mammoth footsteps. And then, there is war. Imagine the rise of empires. Hannibal's legendary march across the Alps to terrify Rome would not have relied on a handful of fragile African elephants that struggled in the cold. Hannibal would have ridden woolly mammoths, beasts perfectly evolved to conquer the freezing, treacherous mountain passes. The Romans, known for their rigid discipline, would have had to invent entirely new military tactics to survive. We might have seen the development of massive, long-range ballistas designed specifically to pierce mammoth hide, or specialized flamethrowers to panic the beasts. War would become a high-stakes game of giants. And the butterfly effect does not stop there. Think about the map of the world. In our timeline, the colonization of the Americas happened across the Bering Land Bridge, a strip of land that dry connected Siberia to Alaska during the Ice Age. Humans followed the herds. If the mammoths survived, the northern ecosystems would remain incredibly rich. The mammoth steppe, a vast, fertile grassland kept alive by the grazing and trampling of millions of heavy herbivores, would still stretch from Spain all the way to Canada. This means northern Europe, Russia, and North America would not be covered in dark, silent pine forests. Instead, they would be vibrant, sunlit grasslands, teeming with life. North America would have stayed deeply connected to Asia through a continuous chain of nomadic cultures. European colonizers arriving in the 15th century would not have found vast, empty-looking wilderness. They would have encountered highly advanced, mobile empires riding armored mammoths. The conquest of the New World would have been an absolute impossibility. But here is the most shocking twist of all. The survival of the woolly mammoth might have saved our modern world from its greatest threat. Today, scientists are deeply worried about the melting of the Siberian permafrost. As the soil warms, it releases billions of tons of greenhouse gases. But back in the Ice Age, millions of heavy mammoths trampled the snow, packing it down into a dense, icy shield that kept the ground frozen deep below. If the mammoths had never died out, the permafrost would still be safely locked away. The global climate would be significantly cooler, more stable, and vastly different. The Industrial Revolution, if it happened at all, would have to navigate a planet where nature was still too massive, too wild, and too powerful to be easily conquered. We like to think of ourselves as the architects of the Earth. But we only inherited an empty stage because the true actors died out. If the woolly mammoth had survived, we would not be the undisputed kings of this planet. We would be partners with the giants, sharing a wilder, colder, and far more majestic world. What do you think? Would humanity have tamed the mammoths, or would they have kept us in the Stone Age forever? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to keep exploring the infinite paths of history and mythology, make sure to hit that subscribe button. The past is full of secrets, and we are just getting started. Until next time.